My name is Rob Hilton. This is the Hilton Estate and Elder Law Office. We have been here on Genesee Street for 8 years, and we do mostly estate planning and elder law, Medicaid applications, and guardianships and will contests and things like that. Today, my focus is, of course, life insurance and estate planning and how the two fit together. There are 4 or 5 main topics I want to cover, and invariably, when I do one of these, I start with the basics because that's where we always start with the basics. And so I'm going to introduce you to the basics of estate planning. These are all very important, and I want you to understand that everyone should have these. I guess the only exception might be very young people with no children and no spouse. And even then, I would say that's not a real reason not to do it, but that might be the only exception. So let's talk about the basics first, okay? The good news is, while I'm standing up, you probably can't see much of my face. That is a bonus for you guys, trust me. So we're going to start with the easy one, right? The will. I assume everyone knows what a will is. A will is the document that distributes your assets to the people you care about when you die, right? Now, what's the key component in there? You have to die first in order for it to work. We all understand that, right? A will also means there will be probate. Probate is the process where the executor goes to the court system by applying to become the executor, providing an application, will, and a death certificate. Also a filing fee, very important, to be appointed the executor, to administer the estate, and eventually distribute the assets. Administering the estate means collecting the assets, putting them in a big bucket, and then distributing to the people who are entitled to those at their when the end of the process comes. Okay, very, very important that you have a will, because if you don't have a will, New York State will decide where your assets will go. New York State already has a plan for your assets. They've already decided what happens if you die without a will, but they may not be the people you want the assets to go to. In addition, very important, and we're going to get more into this in a minute, but for those of you who have young children, you understand that if you leave assets to young children, even through a will without a trust in it, those young children get access to those assets at age 18. Okay? 18-year-olds are still pretty stupid in my book. And so we tend to leave everything in trust till their kids are at least 25. So I'll talk more about that in a minute because that's going to be our first topic. In addition to the will, basic plan includes a healthcare proxy. So a healthcare proxy is the document in which you appoint someone to be a healthcare agent. Their job is to make healthcare decisions for you when you are unable to make decisions. Now, this is important because the healthcare proxy only kicks in if you are unable to make decisions. It does not kick in if you are just sick, but still can make decisions about where you want to live, about how you want to be treated, things like that. Again, New York State has a plan for you if you don't have one. They have a hierarchy of people who will be your healthcare agent if you don't appoint one. They include your spouse, your significant other that lives with you, your oldest child, and so on. There's a list. But if those aren't the people you want, you have to pick one. And also, you should include some instructions in the healthcare proxy to tell the people you care about how you wish to be treated. Do you want life-saving measures? Do you want to be kept alive? Do you want them to let you go under certain circumstances? Do you want tube feeding? Do you want ventilation? All that stuff. You need to explain that in the healthcare proxy. Okay? Very important. So the last one is the power of attorney. So this is the 3 components to a basic plan: will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney. I can't stress to you enough how important the power of attorney is. Because unlike the will and the healthcare proxy, New York State does not have a plan, or at least an easy plan, for you if you do not have a power of attorney. The default is, if you don't have a power of attorney and someone needs to make decisions for you, you need to have someone appointed as a guardian. A guardianship proceeding is long, it's expensive, complicated, takes a lot of paperwork and a lot of filing fees, and ultimately, there's usually 2 or 3 lawyers involved, and they all get paid with your money. The minimum cost in a basic guardianship would be $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000. Okay, when a power of attorney that could eliminate all that could be a couple of $100. So this is really important. So what does the power of attorney do? The power of attorney appoints someone to make legal and financial decisions for you. If you become incapacitated, and we've really seen this during the COVID crisis, people in the nursing home unable to make decisions. We can't get in there to get them to sign one, or we can't get in there to even talk to them. We don't have a power of attorney. We can't transfer assets out of their name. We can't do Medicaid planning. We can't protect their assets. We can't do anything. And so really, really important that you have a power of attorney. Okay. Now, to be fair, not all powers of attorney are created equal. So if someone says, well, I got a power of attorney, I'm all set. That's not true. New York State has something called a statutory gifts rider. Okay. The statutory gifts rider is an add-on to the power of attorney. For us, it's mandatory. It is absolutely part and parcel of every power of attorney we do. However, sometimes it's not done. For estate planning attorneys, we respectfully understand that this statutory gifts rider is critical, because without it, your agent does not have the ability to move assets out of your name. If the agent does not have the ability to move assets out of your name, they can't do any planning, asset protection, get you ready for nursing home, Medicaid protection, any of that stuff. Really, really important that you have a power of attorney with a statutory gift rider. Okay? So, any questions on the basics right now? These are the three mandatories you must have. If you have children, a spouse,